right, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Sherman Crancer. I'm the president and co-founder of the Crancer Group. With that, I would just talk about today. This is the agenda for my actual slow. I've got 172 slides, so we'll make sure we get that done in 30. I used to work at Microsoft, and that's what they'd give you. They're like, hey, you got an hour, here's 172. You're like, oh my gosh, right? No, we do have a lot of stuff to go over today, but the three things we're gonna look at is content syndication, a brief of it, right? The second thing we're gonna be looking at is understanding the nurture process and then doing follow-up strategy. Now, we're gonna be providing you with a lot of great tips that you can walk away with today. My intention for this session today is to help educate you, but also challenge you to think a little bit differently about how you market, how you're going to market, how are you getting your name out there, how are you getting people to actually open up your emails, right? Getting the content syndication. But then on top of that, it's not just about getting them to open up your email, but it's trying to figure out a message that triggers an emotional response, okay? That's really what marketing is, okay? So we're gonna be talking about that and we'll get into the brief. But before I get there, just a little bit about us. I left Microsoft in 2019. I spent about 5 years there with the idea that we could, I could get my life back a little bit, so I was working 70 hours a week, right? But the idea behind it was to help Microsoft partners do two things. One was navigate the Microsoft ecosystem, which is, how do we help partners get their business ready to be able to work with Microsoft? Because there's a lot of little things you have to do to be able to be noticed, right? To become a managed partner. It's not just sales, but there's other things you have to do. So that was one. And the second thing was demand generation, is helping our Microsoft sellers really understand net new customer acquisition. Okay, now with net new customer acquisition, it's a completely different animal. In our industry, the majority of our partners are built with a 90-10 model, where 90% of their employees are technical in nature, and 10% are in sales and marketing. You may end with, it's very interesting, because normally you'd have a hell of a lot more sellers than you have even engineers, right? In other industries, but you guys are weighted differently. So the way that we've built our businesses is typically through the I'm on fire method. And I talk about this a lot, is you're getting a call from somebody who got your name as a referral from somebody else, and they have a problem. They call you up and say, hey, John, I got this problem, and you go in there and you fix it, you solve it, you look great, and now you have a client, right? If we want to be honest with each other, right, with ourselves, that's how we do it. But net new customer acquisition is a completely different model, and that's where I think it's very difficult for our partners really understand not just the methodology, but the time and the investment in that, right? We need to go and change our mindset from doing, and this is on average, I did a study with Forrester when I was at Microsoft. I asked them to do polls and kind of, how many net new deals do partners across the US typically do in a year? And you know what the answer was? It was surprisingly low, 4.5 deals a year, net new kind of deals, right? So if you're thinking about growth, you're thinking about really building your business, you have to think about investing more in net new customer sales acquisition, but it's a different model, because that can take you anywhere between 3 and 9 months, okay, per actual contact or lead that you have. You got to develop it, you got to nurture it, you got to do that, and that's what we specialize in. We call it the Thor's hammer of marketing. So we do two things with marketing. One, we use hands-on labs, right? We present on modern workplace security, hands-on labs. We bring people in. It's about educating people, right? So we bring in a bunch of registrations. They come, they sit with us for an hour and a half. We get the leads from that, and then we move forward. Or we do content syndication. Now, our methodology on content syndication is what I'm sharing with you today. This is for you to have, and it's gratis, right? So this is a good thing. But the idea, though, is you have to think differently. You have to think in your mind emotional, they call it emotional marketing value words, EMV words, but you need to have messages that elicit a response. To kind of give you a scale of what we do, we send out over 1 million emails a month. We are the Thor's hammer of email marketing. And what we're doing is we're finding people on the customer journey. Now, in the customer journey, you don't know where they're at, but you're looking for the people in the customer journey, right? And then you have to get them to look at that email or that website or that ad, and you have to be able to get them to click on it first, right? But then the second thing is you have to get them to read that initial brief and then fill out their information, right? So just think about how hard that is. Just think about all the advertisements we get, right? But the third thing is to get them to show up to a meeting or a webinar. It's very difficult to do that, but you have to have commitment and you need to have a really good understanding of those emotional triggers that get people to want to talk to you, okay? So we'll get into that. It's a very different way of thinking about that. So that's what we do. That's the last part. I'm going to talk about what we do. Now let's talk about what we can do to help you guys out. Okay, so the first thing here, content syndication brief. We have this saying that I normally use, and it's, dreamers are the ones that talk about what they're going to do. We always know those people. Everyone's talking to them. I'm going to make $1 million company, a $2 million company. I'm going to talk. They keep talking about it, but the leaders are the ones that do what they talk about. And I usually ask people to ask themselves that question: are you a dreamer or are you a leader? Are you the person who constantly talking about how I'm going to build my business, but really never pulls the trigger, never does it, right? Or are you a leader where you say, you know something? I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to jump in first. I remember my wife, she, when I told her I was leaving Microsoft to start the business, she just looked at me, are you nuts? Are you crazy? I'm like, yeah, kind of, a little bit. Yeah, we'll do that. And then 4 months into the business, the darn pandemic hit. Okay, talk about bad timing, right? But it actually worked in our favor long term. But anyways, I start that out because I think that's a good way of thinking about marketing and getting into it. So first, we're going to go through some definitions first, okay, just to kind of reset this, lay our foundation. What is content syndication, right? So it's basically republishing a piece of content that you've created across multiple websites, across multiple areas, not including just your website, right? LinkedIn, Facebook, digital advertising, right? And reposting it over and over again as basically a trap. Okay, it's like your fly, not your fly net or something, your fly trap, right? That's what you're trying to do, right? So that's really what content syndication is. And as Dave was talking about, many of you have just an enormous amount of talent on your team right now. All these engineers that have got certifications that do business every day in certain verticals that are not providing content for you to produce. And I challenge you to maybe, this is a good best practice I'd like to share, is have your engineers come in, now that we're coming back to work, once a week and have pizza lunches, right? Where you bring them in and you say, okay, this is our content writing day. And 6 to 8 people sit in front of on the table, you're sharing lunch, and each person's writing a piece of content. Well, the thing is, that's free to you because you already pay for their salaries. Why not use what they've learned or how they're approaching some of these deals to create some really good content out there? Now you start building some of the good content, right? So that's really what content syndication really is. What is an MQL? Now this is a thing that's bandied about a lot. MQL versus SQL. So we have to understand that MQL is a marketing qualified lead, right? That's where somebody's giving you an indication that they're kind of interested. Okay, that's what it is. An SQL is the gold. That's a sales qualified lead, right? And that's where somebody gives you information about their project, when they want to do their project. They're giving you more info, okay? Now, the thing to be careful about MQLs and SQLs is, and this is what we've been finding in our experience, we've been doing this about 4 years, is we'll give a partner 20 leads, right? And we're like, dude, we got these people to open, to register, to show up, and they told us that they want something from you. Like, I can't do much more than that. I mean, this is gold. But then I'll get responses of, well, these leads are crap. I sent one email. I didn't do follow-up, and they never responded, so that. And I had this other partner. I said, well, why isn't this working for you? And he's like, well, I have the 3-strike method. Oh, okay, tell me about it. Strike 1, I send an email. If they don't respond to me in 24 hours. Strike 2, the next week I leave a voicemail. If they don't respond to me, it's strike 2. Strike 3, I send them one more email. If that's it, I'm not doing business with them. I'm like, wow, okay. So I was like, very diplomatically, well, that is a very interesting strategy. How about we talk about nurture, okay? Nurturing these stuff, because not everybody's ready for that. Understanding the customer journey is also very interesting too, right? Where are they in that journey? or understanding, I'll give you a good one, seminar metrics. Okay, seminar metrics. You have 100 people in a room. Okay, 3% of those 100 people are ready, willing, and able to buy today. They got a problem, they hate their vendor, they need something done today. That's the I'm on fire method, okay? And that's in month 1. From 4 to 20 are people that are ready, willing, and able to buy today, but they don't trust you. They don't know who you are, they don't trust you yet, right? And then from 20 to 100 are people that are there for the information. They're not ready to do a project. It's on their mind, or maybe they're already been implemented, and maybe they don't really like their person just yet, but they do have something going on. Okay, so if we understand that metric, okay, this is really important in marketing, that's in January. But what happens in February? What happens in March? Well, some of those people that were in that 4 to 20 range, now because you've been giving them really good content, they're breaking down that barrier and now they're ready to talk, right? In March, now you have some of those 20 to 100 people who are like, all of a sudden something happened, or their contract came out, or they really don't like their person now. And just think, if you are constantly in front of those people, when their head comes up, then you have a much better chance of net new customer sales acquisition. So we have to understand these things, right? And we also have to understand the nature of, just solicitations, including myself, and I know all of you, you're probably hate going to a car dealership. You know right away, it's the pressure, right? You just know you're gonna get pushed on that. Well, I think the same thing about customers who are looking at IT vendors or any type of vendor in any case, they're always a little bit wary of things, right? They're a little bit wary of that. So you really have to find a real way to break down those barriers, right? So if we understand that. All right, so that's really what an MQL is. And then what is email nurturing? Okay, so there is a gentleman in this group, Bill Durham, Basilea Consulting. I've known him for about 10, 12 years. And if you need anyone to talk to about strategy on the nurture strategy, his build out, which I saw 10 years ago using Dynamics, was the most lights out. It was just incredibly how he built this nurture campaign that would take a lead that went to qualify, got another piece, and then get down to even scheduling on his calendar, which was unbelievable. So Bill Durham, if you ever want to talk to him about that, I highly recommend. Great guy, great company over there. But that's really what it is. It's nurturing through a thoughtful process. Now, we have a big mistake in our industry, a monster mistake in our industry. Our industry constantly markets, we are the best. We are the quickest at response time. We have the longest number of clients, right? We sell Microsoft, or they're like, ABCIT is the best at Microsoft 365. Buy Microsoft 365, buy Azure, right? Well, you all do it. You all do the same thing, right? And you're sending out messaging about buying, but you're not sending out information that helps people solve problems. Okay, now remember that statement. Helping people solve problems or helping people answer questions. Okay? So think about that. Answering questions. Think about before you buy a house. What do you typically do before you buy a house? We've all bought a house, or hopefully we've all or been in the process of buying a house or an apartment. You do research, right? You have questions, right? And you want to get answers to questions, right? So that's really what email nurturing is. The biggest mistake is you'll get a lead and then you constantly send them, this is our newsletter, how great we are, or a newsletter of, hey, buy this and buy that and buy this and buy that. But really, do I want to see that? No, I automatically send that to the dump, right? To the delete box, right? So email nurturing, it's a long tail process, but you really have to think about every piece of content that has to be something that the person is going to want to open up. These are gold. If you think about it, you found somebody on this cloud consumption journey, and we can't let them go. But what we need to do is break down that barrier so that they can start trusting us. If we keep sending them stuff that says, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, well, I can go to 20 websites. I can go to all of your things. You all say that, but a lot of things say the same. Yeah, we're all the best at returning your phone call and solving problems, right? So what differentiates you, right? I would rather be looked at if I was an IT partner as somebody who solves problems. I'm a problem solver. I'm a person you can come to ask questions about, and I'll find that research and I'll give it to you. But email nurturing is really, you really have to think about it and really put some thought process in it, because net new customer sales acquisition, you need to have a real engine inside of this. There's a figure that I'll bring up, another study. We did a poll with what is the typical spend of your gross revenue on marketing? This is sobering thoughts. So anyone here have a thought on Microsoft partners? What is their percentage of gross revenue they spend on marketing? Anybody have a thought here? 1%. Very close. Very close. The average is 3%. Okay, and then also our partners are a lot of start-stop, because the measure of success is based on your method of customer acquisition in the past, which is the I'm on fire method, right? Oh, I can close 1 or 2 deals. 1 out of every deal I'm closing. Well, yeah, because it's kind of a layup, right? But you know, marketing in really building out net new customer sales acquisition is a long tail process. Should be a 1-year process that you look at it in a quarterly basis, where you say, you know something, I need to change some of the way we're doing it, but I need to have commitment, right, to marketing, okay, and to actually doing this. So, you know, nurturing really needs to be about messages that you actually send that people actually want to open. Okay, so benefits of content syndication. So brand awareness, right? You know, if you think about this, to actually go back to my stat here, which will go to this. Does anybody know how much McDonald's spends on marketing? This is eye-opening as well. 8? 80? Oh no, but wow, we don't have burgers right now. We'd all be like, but McDonald's spends so much, because I mean, I know I loathe and I love McDonald's at the same time. I just find myself sometimes just turning in for French fries. I was just like, right? Because that's what they do. They spend 21%. Think about that, 21%. They're committed to that, and that's why, you know, Ronald McDonald House, and you got all this, you know, that's why you actually drive down, you see it for some reason, or you smell a little bit of the French fry, you just turn in. It sucks. I'm weak, you know, with that. I wish I was stronger, right? But it's brand awareness, right? Increasing traffic. So you have a lot of really great people in your organization. You can do a lot of this stuff on your own. And then SEO boost. So content syndication isn't just about your website, but I sure as all get out that I would suggest that you really need to bone up your websites and really have great places for people to get answers to questions. So my theme here is really about getting answers to questions. So these are the benefits of content syndication. Okay. So we're going to talk about the best practices here for content syndication. So the first thing that we have to understand, okay, is the customer journey. Okay, so we're breaking it down to foundational concepts here. The customer journey. Okay, they're starting out in the migrate phase, right? Maybe even there's 4. Maybe there's just the informational phase, right? Then there's the migrate phase. Secondly is the modernize phase, and then the third one is the innovation, right? So they're doing that. So there's 3 stages. So you're either migrating in, you're going to the cloud. Now that you have it, how do we actually harden it and make it a little bit better? And then next, you're thinking about how do I innovate, right? So if we understand those 3 different areas of journeys, we can really start formulating our marketing concepts, okay, based on that. So, and based on that, what are the questions those people in those stages have today? Okay, this is the key thing, okay? Before I'm going to migrate to the cloud, as a consumer, I sure as hell would like to get somebody to answer some questions, right? Some questions about what do I have to set up to go to the cloud? Like, what are 5 things that I don't understand, that I should understand before I talk to an MSP, okay? Right, to think about that. So you have to understand, what are those questions they're looking to answer? Content isn't just about building content. Content are, hey, these are the 6 key features in Microsoft Office. Well, you know something, why are you spending any money on that when Microsoft is already doing that? Okay, but how about instead of that, what should I know before adopting Microsoft 365? Okay, different. If you think about it in a question format, you start thinking about, okay, how can I help break down the barrier and build trust? So I think you'll all agree with me that when you give something to someone and you help them out, you build automatic trust right away, as opposed to, hey, here you go, or buy this and buy that, right? Buy this. I live by the mantra of give first, things come back later. Always give first. I give away so much stuff for free, consulting and leads and stuff like that, because I want to help people, and I know it comes back in spades. It's tough to do that in the beginning, but hey, I like to invest in in what I do. So think about what you'd like to know before you set an appointment. So think about the consumer, right? How do you break down those barriers? And then how do we change the view of who you are? That's the other thing too. We need to start thinking about, and this will be in all your marketing, not just content syndication, but how do we start building a brand about people who identify with what you are and what you do? Now, with McDonald's, it is so ingrained with us that we know what it is. It's just constantly in there, and we're constantly working at it, right? They do a really good job of that. But that's what you want to do for your company. You want to be known as a leader in your industry and separate yourself from everybody else. Because we're all bunched together with the marketing these days. It's like you've got to separate yourself. Okay? Summary, really critical to understand what your customer is looking for, provide content that answers questions, and break down barriers by giving first. All right, so what I did here on the next slide is I actually have about 10 of these with example questions. Because what I want to do is I want to talk about these and pique your interest and pique the way that you might be thinking to change the way you're thinking about how you're marketing any type of content. Okay? Marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is happiness, right? Marketing is driving down the freeway and a billboard saying, it's going to be okay. And you just smile and you're like, okay, yeah, right? Marketing is really helping people understand who you are without making them feel intimidated. Okay? So if we think about those terms, how do we change their minds? So here you go. This is an example. Now this is an example question that is based in content. Okay? So the actual lead would be, what business objectives are driving cloud adoption? So we created a piece, okay? What business objectives? And inside that piece, we would actually write out, 3 or 4 paragraphs. Maybe we'll actually have the bullet points. But at the end of it, we just say, hey, if you want more information, let us know. Here's a call. Schedule an appointment with us, okay? But now we're giving. We're breaking down that barrier, right? But we're answering that question because somebody probably has that question, right? The next one is another one. 5 critical items to consider on how cloud strategy aligns with overall business strategy. Well, those C-levels probably want to know that answer to that question, right? But you got to make sure that that content that you're sending out is actually good content, because who here hates when you put your information in and you download whatever that is, and then it's just an ad. You're just like, oh man, now because a lot of times you end up putting your information in and now you're on a spam list, right? So nothing makes you more inherently angry than getting a bad piece of content that you gave somebody something for. Because you expect somebody to call you on it. So, but think about that. Your pieces have to be in this type of vein. So this was understanding business alignment, right? Okay, next example we have here is cost management and balancing act, okay? So another one, what business objectives, oh, wait a minute. I think I have the double slide here. Sorry. Okay, security and compliance. Are your security requirements clearly mapped out for a cloud environment? 5 key strategies to consider. If I was a consumer, I'm looking at that thinking, hey, I think I need to, that's something worth reading, right? Security remains paramount in cloud environment. Defining security needs in 10 steps. Questions. We're answering questions. We're thinking that the person that in security and compliance would like to probably have this type of information before they make a decision or before they actually call anybody. Thank you. Technology and architecture. Which cloud development model suits manufacturing or insert vertical needs best? Okay. Another one is 10 steps to plan for scalability and managing peak loads. I hope you're kind of getting the theme. We have a piece that is, well, gosh, man, this one worked so well. 5 things to consider before switching managed service providers. And so we knew that if somebody was downloading that person's interested in potentially switching managed service providers. I mean, you couldn't get any better, that's a target, okay? That's gold, right? So you have to think of it in that thing, because those people are thinking about that. Maybe maybe they got somebody too fast and it's just not working out, and maybe they want to know some other critical areas, right? 10 steps to plan for scalability and managing peak loads. Hey, if I'm a network engineer, I'm a cloud engineer, and I'm trying to figure out how do I, keep Azure moving? Is it going to be reserved instances, Azure savings plans? Is it going to be like a whole bunch of different ways of network monitoring? But right, they have these questions, right? Let me move on to next one. Vendor selection, choosing the right partner. So how should you evaluate and select cloud service providers? I want you guys to ask yourself this question when you're seeing these. Does this make sense? Does this make sense to somebody who might need that information before they call you? Right? And the main thing is what we're trying to do is we're trying to get somebody to download and give us their information. And we want them to give us that indicator that they're interested, right? Picking reliable partners is crucial for successful cloud adoption. What strategies do we have to avoid vendor lock-in? There's another one that we actually do. Our previous speaker that was up here, holy Moses, incredible presentation. And I was just looking at some of the metrics and the percentages behind that, and I'm actually going to start crafting stuff that kind of goes along with mapping it out to certain different individuals, right? Different departments that are there, right? Let me get into the next one here. Performance monitoring and service quality. How do we monitor and manage cloud service performance? 5 steps to consider before adoption. What benchmarks should manufacturers set for service quality? Once again, the idea here is getting people to want to download our stuff. But then at the flip side of this is understanding the nurture process, which we're going to get into right now. So with that being said, it's not just about making a sale, it's about establishing a meaningful relationship with potential customers. Okay, that's the real thing here. So the benefits of email marketing or email nurturing is you're building trust and rapport, you're enhancing the lead qualification and enhancing sales conversion rates. But let me break it down for you, okay? And we talked about this a little bit earlier than this. Your initial reach out, or there's steps to reaching out to a lead for net new customers, which I'm going to give you here in a little bit, okay? But you have to remember the key thing with net new customer acquisition is you have to keep giving good information. Any marketing that you have that talks about yourself or what you charge for X, Y, and Z, you need to stop today, okay? It's just noise. And you're not building, what you want is that person who downloaded that piece of information, you want them to look for your email next month, right? Because the first piece of content you gave them was awesome. And then you can say, hey, you downloaded a piece from us regarding manufacturing. Here's another thing to consider when you're, here's some more good information. All of your nurture stuff needs to be about keeping education as a forefront. We'd like to invite you to a hands-on lab experience where you can actually touch Microsoft security products. Come to this. We're not going to sell in this situation. We're just going to, it's a thing that we provide our customers, right? That's just one of the things that we do on that. But you're gonna, if you follow that methodology and you implement a right methodology, you're gonna increase your sales conversion rates exponentially, okay? We need to get yourself going from 4.5 deals a month or a year. In my mind, it should be 15 to 16 deals a year. Now you might think, I'm gonna break, okay? But then maybe the deals that you're getting may be too big, or you're putting yourself in a position where growth is not gonna be exponential. And now you have to start thinking about, how do I create like micro offers to get people in the door so I can evaluate them, they can evaluate me for 3 months, right? Some micro offer, I use this Salesforce. Now, I don't work for Microsoft, so I can talk about this freely. They had the best model in the world. It's the freemium service. Anybody could open up a Salesforce CRM, right? You could start up, boom, boom, boom. You could put your contacts in, boom, boom, boom. But then when you wanted to save a contact and send them something, it says, the pop-up says, oh, that's grayed out. You're gonna have to buy 10 licenses, right? But holy Moses, that was really good, right? So think about this for yourself, and this is overarching strategy here. You should have a micro offer that allows people to come in and try out maybe what you do. Quick starts, those are pretty popular these days, but you need to have something that is easy to consume, But also, because of profitability concerns these days, I like the micro offer because I can evaluate the customer for 3 months as well. Do they pay on time? Do they have budget? Are they a pain in the butt? Do I really like these people? Because sometimes, people are, I don't like them. You don't like them. You're like, I don't want to work with you. You have unrealistic expectations, right? So having that. So that way I think is what's going to really increase your sales conversion rate is if you follow email nurturing and you follow the follow-up process by giving, as well as also having something that's simple to adopt to try you out. I forgot this last point, but I think I touched on that already. All right, so mastering professional outreach. Okay, so these are a few bullet points that I think are really important to understand here. Prepare and personalize. Now, marketing just always seems to be an afterthought within I got 9 minutes left, within our group. So we put together a lot of stop starts. And I'm saying this as a collectively, because I've been in front of so many partners over the years. And you really need to actually sit down, okay, and say, okay, let's build these out. I tell you one thing, ChatGPT, right, the OpenAI thing, I love this. So it used to take us like weeks to pull up different types of email campaigns, right? Now we don't have to do that. We can actually ask for suggestions through OpenAI. And now they actually write some pretty cool, compelling things there. So we can actually do these things quicker and faster. But what I'm saying with the thoughtfulness is you actually have to have days that are built out that, say, okay, if I get a lead for migration, every lead of migration is going to go down this path, we know, okay? But also there needs to be a sales process and a follow-up for all those email, all that. So there's 2 people who get notified, the marketing department and also your business development group, okay? You have to be thoughtful with planning. You have to work on the business, okay, not just in the business. We all I do that too. I work in the business a lot. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to work on the business. Sometimes it's hard. So we have to do that, right? We have to open with context, okay? Use the consultative approach. We kind of know that. Stop with the whole buy this, buy that stuff. Get rid of that. Emphasize value and not sales, which I was just kind of talking about. And then following up thoughtfully. No 3-strike method. No 2 emails and these leads are crap. I get that a few times. I'm like, oh, you're not getting it. Like, if you got somebody to open, register, download, or attend a meeting, that's gold. Don't let them go. Hold on to that person for 8-9 months. I tell people, even on my team, I said, until that person is, and I said, never be unpolite, but until that person says, hey, thank you so much for reaching out, but we don't really, we're not going to move forward with your services. You can stop communicating with us. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I want to hear. That's good, but your sales folks need to make sure that that's in that CRM and there's the touch points that are happening, and you got to manage that, okay? And manage how many touches they're doing. You can't let them off the hook and only do 2 or 3. You have to manage your salespeople to follow up on these leads. So following up thoughtfully and operationally, right? I tell you, before I went to Microsoft, I learned, and Ro Kolakowski, I don't know if he's here right now, but Ro, I have such utmost respect for him. And what I learned from Ro was operational management. When he was running IAMCP, my gosh, everything had an operational flow. Everything had a run book. It was really something else. So I really did it. Okay, let's get into follow-up strategy here. And this is something you can put in. Now, this is real world stuff that, we're in that business, so we know this. We know when it's a good time to send a meeting or not. So email 1, send immediately after the lead downloads the content. Welcome and provide immediate value. Okay? Email 2, send 2 business days after the first email. Share additional insights and benefits. Email 3, send 4 days after the second email. Offer a testimonial or case study. Email 4, send a week after the third email. Address common questions or objections. In email 5, send 3 business days after the 4th email. Provide a clear call to action and emphasize how you can help. Now you can take a picture of that. I think we're giving the slides out, but this is how we found very effective. Now what I'd also add though is LinkedIn is becoming it's only taken about 10 years to figure out how to monetize LinkedIn, right? So a lot of times it's connections, but really great way to add to your sales and marketing process. As soon as somebody's downloading or engaging with your company, you should have a LinkedIn flow for them. Automatically send them a connection request. Hey, thank you, just want to let you know, thank you for downloading that information. Because sometimes your email may not get to them, right? But for some reason, LinkedIn emails always get to them. They're coming through, or they're getting the message, right? But this is the thing. Now, after this is done, okay, now you need to have, for the rest of the 12 months that you have a lead in the nurture cycle, 2 emails a month. That's how I do it. Okay, 2 emails a month. But those emails have to be full of great content. Okay, good stuff that you would want to even open up. So that's the suggested follow-up sequence. Okay, so here's the suggested timing, or here's the additional content for that. Send 2 content-specific emails per month. Send LinkedIn invite. I like to send a calendar invite to discuss downloaded content. You can talk to, I call him the Michael Jordan of sales. He's actually on my team. We brought him out here, Josh Rogers and Andres Oseguera. Josh is amazing at setting appointments. I've never seen anyone set more appointments in my life than when Josh came on board 6 months ago. But just the way he does it. But he sends a calendar invite, and a lot of us wouldn't send a calendar invite cold to somebody. Think, oh, that's rude. But the way he sends it, hey, I'm just putting a mile marker on our calendar just to see if we can do this. Let me know if there's a time that can change. So it becomes, instead of being an intrusive thing, right, it becomes something like, oh, it's just part of marketing. So we're seeing a little less and less of people getting, butthurt about getting a calendar invite without being told that I'm getting a calendar invite. But you sent me a calendar invite. Okay, take it easy, dude. You're not that important, right? We're going to send you a calendar invite, okay? If you don't want it, you can just decline, RSVP or not, right? Like, take it easy. Endorse the contact on LinkedIn. I don't think enough of us do that, because that's another way of breaking down that barrier, right? You can go to any LinkedIn contact, you can scroll down to endorse, you endorse them, boom. Now what are you doing? You're breaking down that emotional psychology, the barrier that they have initially because they don't want to talk to you, right? So we want to make sure that we have that. Okay. And then social media posts, like them. That's another good best practice. I think you can start using OpenAI to do a lot of this stuff automatically. I'm sure somebody in here is going to figure out, well, how do I automate this, right? I saw an article yesterday, a guy used OpenAI to find his wife on Tinder. And he had 5,000 conversations going at once during 1 month. And it would automatically respond, like people based on profile, send messages, talk to these people, and actually set appointments on his Google Calendar for him. Okay, wow, right? It was so impressive I had to tell you the story. I mean, it's like, come on, who does that? Who has 5,000 conversations, right? But I guess that's the way to do it, right? Blunt force media marketing, right? All right, so with that being said, we're here today. We're over on the left-hand side. I promise you this isn't a sales pitch. It isn't. This is trying to help you understand this. But if you'd like to talk to us more about content syndication or hands-on labs, we're happy to just have just cool conversations with you. There's no pressure. I never have any pressure in anything that I do. So with that being said, I just want to do one quick exercise. And I think this is a good one for just to understand a little bit about marketing. Could I have each table count off individually 1, 2? So you get a number, you're 1, you're 2. So we'll do like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you guys can just go back and everyone count off just so that you have either the number 1 or 2. So everybody here, okay, we're good? 1, 2, 1, 2, just, okay. It's an exercise, you'll see it in a second. Okay, so can I get all of the ones to stand up, please? We'll stand up, all the ones stand up, okay? Okay, this is cool, okay? I promise you, you'll like this. Okay, now what I want you to do, the ones, I want you to put your hands out like this, okay? Just like that, okay? Awesome, awesome. Okay, now I get all the 2s, we're all gonna stand up, we're gonna shake it off a little bit here. Okay, the 2s. Okay, now what I need the 2s to do is actually put your hands together like that, okay? Okay, now what I need to do is have all of you smile, go ahead and smile. And I have a bet with David for $100 that I'd get a standing ovation. So I figured I'd just go ahead and do this. That's marketing for you. Thank you very much.